Matthew Mercer, Aabria Iyengar, Brennan Lee Mulligan. These are 3 names that are cheat codes to get your D&D video lots of views. But which one should you try to DM like? Well, the answer is none of them. Let's talk about it. Okay, yeah, you got me. It was clickbait, but a lot of people are gonna leave a comment based off of the thumbnail with those 3 pictures in it, so I already kinda won. But why shouldn't you be trying to DM like the titans of this DM industry? Because you just don't have the experience they do. Probably. All 3 of these individuals are immensely talented DMs who have been doing this for years, decades in some cases, and I'm sorry, but it's gonna be hard to measure up to that. If you hold yourself to that standard, you're just gonna feel bad. So instead of trying to DM like the best people in the business, why not set your sights a little lower, a little more manageable, but in a way that will still make you a better storyteller with your friends. So who am I talking about? Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri isn't actually a dungeon master, that's true, but I have a cold right now and don't really want to engage in a heavy narrative. I just want to watch a simple show, like Guy's Grocery Games, where he makes chefs compete in a grocery store. It also means that I haven't written a script for this week, so hopefully my editor has fun with this. You can kind of do whatever you want. But in watching this guy's games of grocery, I've realized that this guy might be a pretty good DM. And because the internet prefers easy chaptered lists, let's break it into categories. Number 1, Playful Sadism. When Guy Fieri presents the chefs on his show with the challenge, there is an undeniable glee as they scream in suffering and torment. He's like a jovial culinary jigsaw.
You know ABC, right?
Pick a letter.
You pick a letter. You can only pick out ingredients that start with the letter.
What?
Take, for example, the ABC challenge, in which Guy Fieri gives the chefs a letter of the alphabet and they have to shop for ingredients that start with only that letter. Imagine a combat encounter going the same way. Not necessarily that you can only take actions that start with the letter B, but adding in a fun twist beyond hit the thing until it's dead. It definitely would work better in like the Feywild with a Guy Fieri or something like that, but so often combat just turns into that scene from Shaun of the Dead where they all just hit the guy in a circle, but that's boring. Spice it up. Get some more flavor in there. And actually, now that I think about it, yes, your players can only take actions based on 1 letter of the alphabet. Sounds very fun. But it wouldn't actually be all that restrictive though. It just encourages your players to be more creative. Which goes to part number 2, deceptively easy challenges. So, ABC challenge. It sounds ridiculous, right? Except the letters that get pulled on the show are always pretty easy. For example, C.
Oh, I gotta choose the letter.
I hope it's not X.
C. Comfort Classic with a C? Should be pretty easy.
You can get chicken, cream, chives, cookies, cauliflower, carrots, etc. Etc. starts with an E, but you get what I'm saying. There are a lot of things in a kitchen that start with a C. So in this example, let's say that your players can only take actions that start with a B because they're fighting some weird fey creature. Well, B can be a lot of things in Dungeons and Dragons. You could bash something, or break something, or bore through something, or back up an ally with a help action. It's not that restrictive to the players because they actually have time to think of what they want to do while they're waiting for their turn to come around, and think of ways to skirt around this thing. By doing that, they're gonna feel like they outwitted your sadistic GM puzzle, when really, that's all you wanted them to do anyway, which is part 3, pretending to be the villain. I think a lot of DMs learn from watching live plays, and that's fine, except the DMs in those live plays are really good at pretending to be villains. So good at pretending that a lot of the viewers sometimes start to think of them as real villains. Brennan, Aabria, and Matt are not actually rooting for their players to fail. They're just pretending to be the bad guys who are doing it. So you get a lot of DMs who watch them being real sadists instead of pretend sadists like Guy Fieri, who's really just goofing around with his pals. It's a tricky distinction because you have to pretend to be the villain for your players. But you want to make sure you're pretending to be the villain for their characters and not actually being the villain to your players. You want them to succeed. Which brings us to our next point. helping the players. If you watch other cooking shows, the host never really gets involved with the players. They sort of walk by and judge the players for not having enough time to complete stuff. That's not fun if you're a D&D player. If you're going up against an enemy that your DM has successfully pitched to you as threatening, and they just kind of make fun of you for it, that sucks. I care about my character. I want my DM to care about my character, and I don't really love the idea that my DM is just out here to kill my character. But Guy Fieri really wants the competitors to succeed.
That Spetzel sure could use some salt. You probably know that already, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's even better working with kids, which I think is another thing that kind of translates to D&D, is you have to know your players. If you have new players or literal children, you should be nicer to them. Don't stress them out. I've seen way too many horror stories of kids going to like gaming conventions or open game nights at a board game store and having the DM just eviscerate them. That's not a fun way to start playing D&D. And yeah, the challenges are easier on the kids episodes of Guy's Grocery Games because they are literal children. Controversial take here. Be nice to children? And don't get mad at children for being children in your space? Though, other side point, if you're a child at a tabletop convention and the sign-up sheet says 18+ game, don't sign up for that. The DM is running an 18+ game. It doesn't matter that you're one of the cool high schoolers, because that's worse. That's so much worse. I've been at that table and it is uncomfortable and everybody just wants you to leave or they want to leave. Don't do that to people. Just sign up for the games that are appropriate for your age group. Anyway, this video doesn't have a script. I'm just winging it and I'm on cough medicine. Woo! Overall, your DM storytelling, especially if you're new, the main goal you should focus on is making your players feel cool, because that makes you feel cool because you told a cool story that everyone enjoyed. If you're a DM, especially for new players, you probably know more about what their character can do than they do. Or at least that's the case for me, because, you know, I make a lot of characters. A helpful reminder that a fighter has extra attack or action surge or second wind if their HP is looking low can be very nice for a new player. Or, hey, remember, you have your sneak attack, rogue. Or, remember, you have sorcery points and meta magic, sorcerer. Or remember, just use Eldritch Blast, warlock, because that's your class's entire identity. Sorry, it's a staple food. You don't change the ingredients. Helping your players succeed will make sure everyone is having more fun. Which brings us to our next point. Relish your players' success. That's a food joke. Relish is a food, and Guy Fieri's a food guy? Huh? Huh? Who needs a script? I can do puns on the fly. Another difference from Guy Fieri and other cooking show hosts, Guy Fieri really loves the food that his guests prepare. I mentioned earlier that he'll walk around and taste people's sauces as they're making them and give them helpful tips. 90% of the time, there isn't a helpful tip. He just says, great sauce, or that's on fire, that's out of bounds.
You put the sugar cereal on the scallop?
I did.
Nice move.
So don't be afraid to tell your players they did something cool. Give out DM inspiration. It's a very fun mechanic, and you should do it more often. If your players do a cool thing that isn't just take the normal action my class can do, reward that. Tell them that their action was out of bounds or on fire. Now it's starting to sound like it's a Guitar Hero game. Maybe I'll do a how to do Guitar Hero in D&D next. Oh, that's Bard. Well, I'll do that when I do the Bard multi-classing video. I think the final thing we can learn from Mr. Fieri is that you should always be based. Based is another cooking term. We're nailing the transitions here. Okay, so normally I don't like to do celebrity worship because I feel like anytime you do that, you're bound to just get like an article the next day saying that that celebrity did a horrible, horrible thing. But I'm gonna engage in it for a second for Guy Fieri, and hopefully this video doesn't age poorly. But Guy Fieri is a cool guy. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives is a show where he just goes around to small businesses that are independently owned and hypes up their food. That's awesome. These are mom and pop shops. These are places that you can afford to go get a tasty food that is unique and not break your budget. So that's great. He also mass officiated a bunch of gay weddings in Florida. That's pretty cool. And he doesn't like dunk on vegans or vegetarians, which is a thing a lot of cooking show hosts do. And Guy Fieri's whole big bam boom boom flavors might make you think that that he's one of those like put bacon on everything to offend the vegetarians kind of guys, but he's not. So the last thing you can take away from Guy Fieri is just being kind to the players who are at your table outside of the game, and order food for your sessions from local restaurants. That's also a good idea. So the overall Guy Fieri DM strategy for those who just skip to the end for some reason is pretend that you're evil, but you're not evil. It's actually pretty easy. Help your players solve your easy puzzle, compliment them when they solve your easy puzzle, and be nice to them outside of the game too. With that, you've got a 5-course meal of D&D flavor that'll take your players to Flavor Town. Thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't go too far off the rails. Today was gonna be another Morie day, but I wanted to spend a little more time on the script to make sure it's really nice for everybody once we start doing the monsters. Join my Patreon if you wanna support me and help me take time to make these videos. Follow me on Twitch where I stream and kind of do these stream of consciousness rants before I turn them into videos. And follow Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.